Next, we'll look at hip mobility. And the low squat hold is a great catch-all. All kinds of muscles need to be kind of at a fairly optimal length for this to be easy for you. Basically, you're setting up feet just outside of shoulder width. Feet should stay pointed mostly straight forward. They can be angled out a little bit, but not excessively. And you want to be able to comfortably sit in this position for at least 2 minutes, but 3 or 5 minutes is even better. If you can't do this, then just practicing this until it does become easy is a great way to improve upon it. But ankle mobility, hip mobility, low back mobility, you kind of get everything here. The second thing we'll look at is the hip's ability to internally and externally rotate. That's inward and outward. So you're going to set up in the shinbox position. So front foot is right by the knee and then the back foot is tucked in, and sit tall as possible. And from this position, then you'll rotate your hips to swing yourself over to the other side. Make sure you exhale as you pass through the seated position. It'll make it a lot easier. But you want to sit as tall as possible, mobilize the hips back and forth until this becomes a smooth movement. And then you can begin throwing in these extensions where you pop up on your knees, squeeze up nice and tall, try and stay as upright as possible as you lower yourself down, and this will help mobilize the hips even further. Now the couch, or the death stretch as people love to call it, I hesitate to throw in just because I think it's overdone, but if there's a ton of tension in your hip flexors and quads, there's no way your back's going to be completely happy, and I feel these are very important, not to mention also for knee health. So you're setting up next to the wall. For the test, you're going to have your knee against the wall and your shin fully on the wall, and you want to be able to get relatively upright. Very difficult to do at first. So here's a side angle. You're going to set up. The first thing you're going to do is press your hip forward by squeezing your glute. You want to stay in a nice straight line and your back is flat or rounded. We don't want to extend the back here, so this is incorrect like I'm showing right now. Stay tucked in like so. And then the next step 2 is to try to come upright, but again without extending your back. So notice my back is nice and flat. This is where you want to be in this position here. Squeezing the glute, letting that quad relax. Yeah, now here I'm arching, so you notice my low back's extending. This is incorrect. We're not trying to mobilize the back here. We want the hip to mobilize, so stay locked in like you see here, and at least a couple minutes per side to get this to relax.